Remember when filling up your fitness studio classes was as simple as throwing up a Facebook ad and just watching your calendar fill up? Those days are gone. Between iOS updates, skyrocketing ad costs, and a dozen new competitors opening down the street, getting new members through your doors feels nearly impossible. I'm Alec Littlejohn, and for the past 8 years, I've been solving these kinds of challenges for fitness studios. After managing millions of dollars in ad spend, generating hundreds of thousands of leads, and helping studios fill their classes day after day, I can tell you one thing with absolute certainty. The old playbook doesn't work anymore. But there is good news. Today, I'm going to walk you through our new playbook. It's an 8-step roadmap that's going to show you exactly how to fill your studio classes in 2025. I'll cover everything from the exact ad and organic strategies that are working today and the conversion system on the back end that takes leads and actually walks them in your studio's doors. Step number 1, your irresistible offer. Now, of course, this isn't brand new news to anybody who's watching this video. Of course, you know you need to have some form of an offer that's going to attract people into your studio. You see, the problem is most fitness studios are utilizing an offer that other studios are using. That, or they're modeling something that somebody mentioned to them that maybe is working in a different location and they're trying to replicate it in their market. You see, the biggest problem with modeling other people's offers is that in some cases, your market performs differently with that same offer. You see, every location has a slightly different demographic, they have different cultures within different areas, and so marketing at one location versus another is completely different. Any of the studios that we partner with that have multiple locations know this firsthand, because what they're trying to do at one location, even though their entire service model is exactly the same, the performance of their offers at one location compared to the next are completely different. To really paint this picture, what you can do is you can go to facebook.com/ads/library. Now, when you get to this page here, what you're going to do is you're going to type in the country that you're advertising from. Once you've selected that, so in this case, we'll do the United States. We'll do all ads for the ad category, and I'm just going to type in the name of an offer. So in this case here, we're just going to do 6-week challenge. And what you're going to notice going through all of these different ads is you're going to see a lot that look the same. So we have this example here. This is a 6-week challenge here, a free 6-week challenge. As I scroll down, here's another free 6-week challenge. Keep scrolling down. Another holiday 6-week slim down program. Keep scrolling down here, looking for men transforming their bodies, 12-week body transformation program here. And as I keep scrolling down, you're going to see more and more of these examples, okay? And the point that I'm trying to make here is that everybody is running the same style, the same structure to their offers, and they're thinking it's going to work at their location. Now, full disclosure, in some cases, running these exact same style offers will actually perform well at your location. The problem with this is if you're trying to run the exact same style of offer that all the other studios are within your market, it's going to create a problem for scalability. Your ads are going to fatigue much quicker. Your costs are likely going to be much higher than they otherwise would be if you tried a different style of offer. And the other, and probably the most biggest issue in my opinion, is that everybody in that audience has blinders, meaning that because they're seeing the same style of offer across all the studios, when your ads go up running this exact same style of offer, they have audience blinders on. The offer doesn't stand out, it looks like everybody else's, and thus making it more difficult for you to actually generate leads from your advertisements. So the way we found to fix this problem is to use data to figure out what your audience wants to see. And so what we do is we run an offer testing process in which we can let the market tell us what resonates with them the most. That way, instead of having to research what everybody is running in your location, you simply run an offer test, get data back from your market that tells you exactly what to run. Here's a live example of a client's account where we ran an offer test like this. And you'll notice right off the bat that we ran a number of different offers and the cost per result is drastically different. And what we're looking at here is we're looking to find what is resonating the most and getting the most people to opt in for the cheapest cost. That is the sole purpose of this test. By doing this, we're figuring out what people want the most in your specific market. And so you can see here, look at the difference in cost per lead here. This is 7 classes for $7, this offer, $27 for a lead. $25 spent on the 7 days for free, 0 leads, 19 for the 5 days, 17 for the 5 classes for $5. We had 35 leads come in for $6 for 15. A 30-day program got $10 leads, 42-day program got $5 leads, 10-day pass got $19 leads, and a 21-day core restore for $21 had $3.03 leads. Now, to make this actually work, what's key about this process is what you want to do is isolate the variable. And so what I mean by that is if you look at the difference between all of these ads, the only thing that's different is the headline, which is the offer in this case. So if I flip to a different ad here, you can see it says 7 classes for $7. The image is the same, the copy is the same. If I go to a different one, copy is the same, image is the same, but the headline is different. And by doing this, we're isolating that variable and then getting data back from your market saying, hey, out of all these different offers, which one do you guys think is the best? And then the way we identify which one they think is the best is by the amount of people that actually took action on the ad and filled out a form. By simply running an offer test like this, you can stand out in your market and drop your cost per lead by roughly 50% in some cases. We have a number of clients that simply run this offer test, and by finding a brand new offer that stands out in their market, they're able to get lead costs down to around $5. Plus, once you run a test like this to a cold market on Facebook, what you're going to find is if you take that same offer and run it as a reactivation, which we're going to get to in step 4, or you actually take that offer and put it on your website, is you're going to get even more engagement and even more responses when you run it to your warm audience. Step number 2 is website activation and conversions. You see, where most fitness studios go wrong is they actually don't optimize their website to rank on Google or to convert traffic into leads. The problem with this is if you're running ads or you're posting on social media, everybody is driven to your website. Which means if your website isn't appealing, it doesn't make people feel confident that they can get results at your studio, well, then you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities that would have otherwise converted had you had your website set up properly. You see, most websites look something like this. Now, you might take a look at this website and think, hey, it looks all right. It has buttons. But when you click on the button, it then takes you to another page. When I look at this, there's no real information here. Where do I put in my information? I click to this page here. I go to this website to start booking and nothing is showing up here. Okay. Here's another example of a website where I scroll down here, not very appealing, not really sure what's going on here. I can click to buy a membership now, but then it takes me to a page where I have to fill out my information before I've even gone into the studio. And so there's a lot of friction on these sites. And the problem is it's not actually designed for conversions. Now, if we go over and look at one of our clients' websites here, the process is so different, and you'll see that without the friction, it's a lot easier for people to take action. So when somebody comes to this page and they want to get started, they click, they fill out their information, they submit it, and then our team reaches out to them to get them booked for an appointment. It is a frictionless process. And if we actually look at the stats for this website in particular, you can see here from May 2024 to November 2024, the 20th, you can see that it has a 6.28% conversions. It had 428 leads that opted in through the website, which is through this form here, and roughly 6,815 visitors. Now, the reason I bring this up is because this is 60 to 70 leads that are coming in on autopilot. Not to mention, these are the highest quality leads because they're people on Google who are actually searching for your services. So the first thing you need to solve is, are you getting traffic to your website? If you're not getting traffic to your website, then you need to optimize your search engine optimization. You need to get more Google reviews. You need to optimize my business profile. And that way your site will be set up to actually rank on Google. So what do you need to do to actually turn your website into a conversion machine that actually ranks on Google? So the first thing you're going to want to do is figure out whether or not you're getting traffic to your website. If you don't have Google Analytics set up on your website to track your visitors, then you're definitely going to want to start with getting that in place. If you don't have any data to know what's going on your website, then you're flying blind. Then once you know how much traffic you're getting to your website, what you're going to do, you're going to take the total number of leads generated from your website and divide that by the total amount of visitors that came to your website during that given time period. As an example here, you can see this is, from May 1st to November 20th here. So that's about 6 months and 20 days. And so all I would do here to figure out the conversion during that time period is take 428 leads that were generated and divide it by 6,815. That then gives us our conversion. If your conversion is less than 2%, you're going to want to work on optimizing your website in order to convert more visitors into leads. So here's some things that you can do to your website to improve your rankings and your conversions. You're going to want to make sure it's very easy for people to take action on your website. So in this example here, if I click this button, a form pops up. It's very fast. And all people need to do is give us their basic information, submit that information, and then we can reach out to them to get them booked into a class. So the next thing you're going to want to have is an irresistible offer on your homepage. This is going to incentivize people to actually fill out the form so that you can get their information. And a little tip here is in step 1, when you run an offer test like that, you can actually take that offer and put it on your website, and your website will convert better. The next thing you're going to want to make sure to do on your website is have social proof so people feel like they can actually get results by coming to your studio. If I scroll down here, there's a number of things that are giving information about what things to expect by coming to the studio. But as I scroll down, you're going to see a section full of success stories just like this. And in these success stories, it's talking about how people have lost a certain amount of weight, how they've transformed their lives by coming to the studio. And the whole idea here is to make people feel confident that if they come to your studio, they can get the same result. The next thing you're going to want is mobile optimizations. You see 83% of fitness studio searches come from their mobile devices. So you want to make sure your website is designed and optimized on mobile devices. If I scroll down here in this example, you can see that it fits perfectly. It's smooth. We have this floating button so that whenever somebody wants to take action, they can simply click it and the form pops up, and it's very easy to actually go through, fill this out, and become a lead. And the last thing you want to do in order to rank on Google is make sure you have keywords within your website in order to rank for those on Google. If you're a yoga studio, MMA studio, high intensity interval training studio, whatever it is that you're offering as a service, you want to make sure your main keywords are throughout your web pages so Google knows when people search for that certain keyword, you guys are going to pop up. In the examples for this site, you can see here their local search result. This is just a heat map showcasing, how they're ranking within their location. And you can see here for gym in Milpitas, they're either 1 or 2 within this heat map within this 5-mile radius box here. There is a couple areas here where they're number 4, but for the most part, they're eating up most of the traffic within their location. And if I change the keyword to fitness center in Milpitas, they're either 1 or 2, same kind of setup here. And our goal with optimizing our website is to make sure we're ranking for keywords and the site actually converts at above 5%. And one major tip for ranking higher in Google is actually your Google reviews. The more reviews you have, the more reputation you build, and the more authority you have with Google. If you have over 1,000 Google reviews and Google sees that, and the closest competitor that you have has less than 100, Google is going to prioritize showcasing your business over somebody else's. And so the fastest way you can rank up your site is to make sure that you have a ton of Google reviews. Step number 3, the paid media engine. When building out your paid media engine, what you're going to want to have in place is an isolated variable testing process. And so for us at Untapped Revenue, this is the ad testing process that we follow. And so how it works is we start with 4 main tests. The offer test, which we covered in step 1, where we're basically picking 4 to 5 different offers and figuring out which one is responding best to the audience. We're then going to run a headline hook test, an ad copy test, and a creative test. And so in phase 1, that's the offer test. That's what we went through in step 1. You can see here, the only thing we're changing is what I have circled here, which is the headline with the offer. Okay, that's it. And then what we're going to do is after each of those offers has gotten roughly 1,200 or roughly 1,100 impressions, we're going to see which one gets the cheapest cost per lead. From there, that's going to be determine the winner, and it's going to move on to the next phase of testing, which is the headline hook tests. Same situation here. The only thing that we're doing is we're replacing the actual hook. And so you can see here, this is the original winner, the 14-day core restore. We're now testing a 14-day tone and sculpt versus a 14-day full body revamp versus a 14-day slim down to figure out which headline hook is appealing the most to the audience. Same situation here. We're going to analyze the ad data after 1,100 impressions has been given to each of those individual tests, pick a winner, and then move to phase 3. This is a repetitive process, but we're essentially isolating one variable, figuring out what's working, and then moving forward with the testing. So in this case, you can see we have 3 to 5 different copies that we're testing. We're going to let them get 1,100 impressions again, and then we're going to figure out which copy was the winner and then move it into the last phase, which is the creative testing phase. And so at this point, we have a winning copy, we have a winning headline, and now we're trying to figure out what creatives are going to be working moving forward. Now, full disclosure with creative testing is this is an ongoing process. You're not going to stop the ads after 1,100 impressions in this phase of testing. You're going to keep letting these ads run and turning off the ones that are lacking in performance and keeping the ones running that are winning. So let's dive into an example here so you can see it in action. If I head into an ad account here, you can see that we had 4 offers that we ran as a test. We basically gave them each roughly 1,100 impressions. You'll see in this case here, some of them had 1,300, 1,400, 1,100, or 1,300. One quick little tip here is you can actually create rules that will shut off the ads after a certain amount of impressions. I have a ton of videos on the YouTube channel that cover exactly how to set this up, so you can go check those out. So you can see here, the 15-day trim and tone program had 6 leads for $3.39. And so what we did is we moved this forward in the ad testing process to the point where, we figured out the copy, we figured out the headline hook, and now you can see that since January 31st, starting with this client, we have 2,910 leads that have come through. Today is now November 20th, 2024. And so you can see that 2,910 leads is quite a lot, all for an average of $7.21. And this all started with offer testing and running through that ad testing process. Step number 4, the follow-up conversion system. When it comes to follow-up, this is really where the money is made when it comes to your paid and your organic systems. Now, the main key components of a conversion system that actually works has 3 components. Number 1 is going to be the speed to reply to your leads. This is the most important thing when it comes to your lead follow-up. By simply following up within 1 to 3 minutes, you can have an increase in conversions by 391%. And so what I would urge you to do is audit your current follow-up process. How quickly are you replying to your leads? If you're not replying within 1 to 3 minutes, then this is the biggest opportunity that you can fix right now. The next part is conversational guidance. Now, what do I mean by this? When it comes to actually having conversations with leads, there needs to be some guidance to get them to actually take the actions that you want. I see this too often that people will not properly guide their leads into actually booking appointments. They'll either send messages that don't feel personal, or their messages will feel like they're a bot. When instead, the best way to do this is to treat conversations with your leads like you're texting a family member or a friend. Here's an example of our follow-up process so you can get an idea of how you want to structure this. So you can see here we have an automation that sends out automatically when a lead fills out a form. From there, we're just trying to get them to reply. And so we have a sequence of messages that are going to send out every day, every couple hours in order to get them to reply. Now, the key with these is you don't want to send them too often because then people will be a little bit more deterred to reply. And so you can see here, we said, hi there, Sophia from location name here. Is this contact's name? And then an hour later, we said, did you sign up for our 15-day tone and sculpt program? We just want to make sure we have the right number. The person replies saying, hi, yes, this is contact. I signed up for the 15-day program and would like to know more details about it. We then reply saying, amazing, if you don't mind me asking, what are your health and fitness goals at this time? Now, this is a really important question because the reality is most people would start to reply to this answer here where it says, I would like more details about the program, and they just start spewing information at this person. What we want to do is guide them into booking an appointment. And so we always ask a question that starts to make the prospect think about their desired results. And so this prospect responds saying, I'm looking for weight loss and improving my core strength. As soon as they say that, we send a message back saying, thanks for sharing that with me. We can definitely help you with those goals. Would you prefer a hot yoga stretching class or more of a hot fitness-based class for your first visit? This person responds saying, I would prefer a fitness-based class, Sophia. Okay, you can see how we're guiding this prospect. When we're asking this question here, we're giving them 2 options. Would you like this type of class or this type of class? And then you'll see our next question after they reply here. We say, you got it. Would you prefer a morning or evening class? Once again, 2 options. We are guiding them along. We're holding their hand. This person says evening classes. So what do we do here? We give them options for evening classes. We say, gotcha. Does today at 4:10 or tomorrow at 4:10/6:30 work for you? So we're giving them an option for today and we're giving them an option for tomorrow. We don't want to give them options for too many days out. We want to try to get them into class as soon as possible. They said, I'm busy today and tomorrow, available on Friday and the weekend. Are there any slots available? We then give them the options on Friday and Saturday. They say Saturday at 9:20, and then we book them for that appointment. It's as simple as that. So you want to guide them along this journey. You want to make sure you're replying as quickly as you possibly can. And the last thing you want to include in your follow-up process is to make sure that you have personalization. Okay, this is a conversation. We're asking them about their goals. We have emojis in here. We're making it feel like this is not a bot. This is a real person who's having a conversation with them. Step number 5 is your organic reactivation strategy. This is a goldmine that most fitness studio owners are sitting on. You see, not all leads that come from your ads or your website actually take the steps that you want them to take, which means there's leads that are sitting in your pipeline that haven't been touched in 1 to 2 months. So what you want to do is you want to have a strategy in place that takes all of these leads and reactivates them. It's like taking a defibrillator and bringing somebody back to life. So let me share with you a simple reactivation strategy that you can implement today. We recently ran this at a number of locations and saw 30 to 50 memberships sign up within 2 to 3 weeks after running this. So here's what you're going to want to do. With your list of leads that you have in your CRM system, so whether you're using High Level, you're using MindBody, ZenPlan, or whatever system it is that you are utilizing, you want to collect all of your leads, your old members, and your old trialers. So let me share with you a simple strategy we've been using to generate 30 to 50 new memberships just by running reactivation plays. So what you're going to want to do is grab 3 different lists of leads. You're going to want to grab a list of leads that didn't move through your pipeline and come to the studio. You're also going to want to collect all the leads that completed a trial but never signed up to a membership and any of your old members. Then what you're going to do is you're going to set up a campaign for each of those lists. Let me show you an example of one of those campaigns in actions. If I head over into our CRM system here for one of our partners, and I go into one of our list reactivations, what you're going to see is we have two different reactivations here, and one in particular is specific for leads. Now, what we're going to have is we're going to have one for each of those lists I just mentioned. So this one, as an example, is for all leads that were in the system that never moved forward. And so what do I mean by that? If I head into the pipeline stages in high level, so depending on the system you're using, this is going to look a little different, but you can see here, I have a list of all the leads that are in our paid marketing funnel. So of course, we're going to have a list of leads in our organic funnel, etc. But in here, you can see there's 609 leads in the new leads section here. There's 1,181 leads in the hot leads. There's 251 in booked appointments, so on and so forth. And so what we're essentially doing here is we're going to collect all the leads that never moved forward, meaning anybody who's a new lead, hot lead that never came to the studio, anybody who booked, canceled, no-showed, that never ended up in the studio. We're going to take all of those leads and then send them a message. So let's take a look at that message. If I head back into here to our reactivations and we head into our reactivation message. And so what we're going to do is we're going to send a message to all these leads. Now, depending on what offer won in your initial first step of this entire system, you're going to use that same offer that did really, really well for that initial test. Now, because it did so well in a cold market to Facebook, when you run this to your reactivation list, it's going to do just as well. And so in this example here, you can see we have this message that sends out. It says, hey, contact first name. It's Sophia from location name. Just wanted to reach out and say we have a few more spots in our 15-day tone and scalp program. It's only $15. Would you like me to save one for you? Also, if you don't want to hear from us anymore, just say stop. And so all we're doing here is sending a friendly message. If this is something that the contact is interested in, they'll reply. If not, then there's no harm, no foul. They can move on to the next phase. And if they're not interested, that's totally fine. We can just push them to the side and try another message to them later. Now, for this to really work, you want your offer to be as irresistible as possible. That's why I recommend that offer testing phase that we do in step 1, where we come up with the irresistible offer by running a number of different offer tests. Running that alone gives you some data to suggest that it's an appealing offer to your market. So when you take that offer that has some data to suggest it's going to work and then run it through your reactivation list, your results will skyrocket. Now, as I mentioned, there's 2 other lists that we're also going to send messages to. So let's take a look at an old member reactivation message. And so if I head into this campaign here and scroll down to the message, we can see it's going to be structured a little different. These people were previous members, and so we want the message to basically talk about how they were a previous member. And so you can see here it says, hi, contact first name, it's location owner from location. Scroll down about a second or 2 later, we send the next message. It says, I wanted to reach out to say we missed seeing you at the studio. If you are at all interested in coming back, we have a new offer we're running that I'd love for you to come try. Would you like a spot before it's gone? Now, this offer in particular, you want to customize it for old members. And so because they've experienced the studio before, you want this offer to be a little bit more high ticket. It can be something like a 50% off their next month. You can also offer them some form of program. If you offer like a 6-week program or a 42-day program, you're essentially just giving them a discount to come back to the studio. And that same kind of philosophy is going to apply to when you create this exact same process for your old trialers. You don't want to give them the same trial that they got before. You want to give them something unique and different so we can get them back into the studio. One little tip is that if you're sending a reactivation message to old trialers, just be careful sending them to those trial hoppers that don't really care about coming to the studio, ones that might have been a bad fit when they came in. And so a lot of the times what some of our clients will do is they'll either not send a message at all to old trialers because they didn't sign up in the first place. Or what they'll do is they'll filter out the contacts that they knew just weren't a good fit. And something that you should get in the habit of doing is in your list of leads that you're collecting, your list of trialers, old members, you should always remove the contacts you know aren't a good fit. And that way they never get added to these sequences in the first place. Step number 6 is the member referral machine. When it comes to generating more memberships, it's no surprise that your members and your raving fans are some of the most profitable people to get people in your doors. A referral is the easiest type of person to close onto a membership because they already have somebody whose opinion they care about referring them to your studio. The best studios that we work with have a system in place for membership referrals that is automatic, that happens after a given amount of classes that have been completed by their members, or some form of automation that occurs within the first 10 to 15 days that somebody becomes a member. So the studios that we partner with that get the most member referrals are actually the ones that do it within the first couple days of somebody's membership. The reason this works so well is because they're really excited to get started. They've already experienced some of the things that you offer, and so they're already really excited. This is the mindset that you want them in when they're referring somebody, because they're going to be more enthusiastic, they're going to be more passionate about getting one of their friends or family members to come to your studio as well. And so let me walk you through exactly what we do with our partners. So here's 2 ways you can set up a member referral system in your studio. So the first way is just sending a message to all of your members. So it's as simple as this. As I go into this message here, all it says is, hey, contact first name, location owner here, from location. I just wanted to see if you had any friends that might like to come try us out. I have a few free 10-day passes to give away. And if your friend comes in, loves it, and signs up, I'll add a free month to your membership. Do you have anybody in mind? Now, what's really important about these messages is that you have an offer that this member might actually want. And you also need something that their friend is going to want as well. And so the best combination we found is a low barrier entry for the friend to receive and something like a discount for the actual member that you have. Now, the key here is the more irresistible the offers, the better your responses and the better your signups are going to be. And so this is going to be the general structure of all of your referral messages to members. We like to do text messages only because 98% of people open and read text messages. If you compare that to email, open rates are typically 20 to 30%, and so your members might not even see the message. Okay, so this is method number 1. The next method is actually to have this automatically sending out to your members after they've completed a number of classes. Now, full disclosure, depending on the system that you're using, this might be a little bit more difficult to set up. In this case here, we have a trigger that directly tracks the attendance of clients within our partner's calendar tracking system that they're using for their classes. And so you can see here, essentially what's going to happen is after this contact has finished exactly 16 classes, a message is going to send out that says, hey, check your email inbox. There might be something special in there for you. And so what that's going to do, it's going to get those people to go check their email inbox to see what basically is being offered. And so this message is just a bait to get them to see the email. And so you can either run it this way where you're directing people to your email with a text message, or you can just send the offer in your text message. Both work perfectly fine. Okay, so here's what the email says. Now, as I mentioned, you can also include this in the text message. Email just allows you to include more information. And so if you need more room, then direct people to an email. And so you can see here, it says, it looks like you've been to over 15 classes already. It's been so amazing having you in the studio, and we would love to have more people like you in our community. I wanted to check in with you to see if you had any family members or friends who might like to join you for some classes with a 15-day trial. If you do, and they decide to sign up with us, as a way for us to say thank you, we'll give you blank % off your membership for each family member or friend who joins our community. And so this has those same combinations. It has an offer up front, which is a 15-day trial for their friend, and we're giving them a percentage off their membership. So I left this blank so that you can come up with your own percentage that you would want to give off. In some cases, a lot of our partners like to give away a free month, which is one of the best discounts that you can give. Step number 7, data tracking and optimization. You see, one of the biggest issues fitness studio owners face is that they do not know where their bottlenecks exist. The reason this is such a big problem is because when you're running your digital marketing and you don't know where your advertising dollars are being spent and what's actually generating you a profit, then it's going to be impossible to identify bottlenecks and actually fix them. You're essentially driving through a complex city with a blindfold on and no GPS. And so in order to actually make your digital marketing work so that your paid ads as well as your organic systems are constantly getting better, you need to have proper data tracking in place so that you can make optimizations and constantly improve your systems. So here are the things that you need in place in order to properly identify issues and then fix them. First of all, you need to track your leads throughout their entire journey. So as an example here, we're looking at a pipeline for the paid marketing side of things. So that would be any leads that came from Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, or Google ads. And so you can see here, I'm tracking all the new leads in the system, and anybody who moves over from new lead to hot lead, booked appointment, cancellation, no-show, etc. are all leads that have engaged in the business. And so a hot lead here is anybody who's replying to emails or text messages. Booked appointment, cancellation, and no-shows are pretty self-explanatory. Booked appointments are anybody who've obviously booked an appointment. Buddy added are people who add a referral to their appointments. And then we have cancellations, no-shows, trials started, and then purchased membership versus didn't purchase a membership. Okay. And so we're tracking every single stage along this client journey. But that's not the only thing we're tracking. We're also tracking specific data from our organic funnels. So this is essentially anybody who's come from the website organically. Maybe somebody referred them online to go to the website, but it's essentially not tied to any of the paid ads. So to make this easier to see our stats, of course, we can see all the leads in this pipeline, but I want to know what's my response rate, what's my show up rate, what's my booking rate, and what's my trial to membership conversion rate. And so what we've done is we created an Excel tracking sheet. And so you can see in here for this client from September, midway through September, all the way to November, the end of November, we can see all of our stats throughout this entire time period. So what we're looking at here is actually identifying what is our response rate. And so out of all the leads that came into our funnel here, how many actually replied to our communications? And so you can see here in October, we had a 92% response rate of all these 76 leads that came in during that month. We had 65% of those book an appointment, 80% of those show up for their appointment, and 92% of those close onto a membership. So out of the 40 leads that showed up for their appointment, 37 actually purchased a membership. We're also tracking things like monthly recurring revenue that was generated for our paid ads. We're also tracking the monthly recurring revenue that was generated on a week-to-week basis, as well as the totals here that you can see throughout that month. We see our contract revenue added, our total ad spend, and then our return on ad spend as well. And that way we know exactly where our money is going and how much revenue we're generating from the ads that we're running. You can also see at the bottom here, we have an overall stat panel where we can see all of the leads generated throughout this entire time period, all of the responses, bookings, shows, and sales. We can also see the statistics here. And what this allows us to do is if we see our response rate is less than 50% or our booking rate's less than 40%, then we know we have a bottleneck for that specific stat. If I know our booking rate is less than 40 or 30%, then I know there's an issue with either the follow-up or the quality of the prospects that are coming through the funnel. If I have an issue with closing rate, let's say our closing rate's 20%, then there might be an issue with the sales system or the quality of prospects coming in the door. But by being able to see these stats, we can actually make changes and identify where there's issues in the system. And this is just the paid ad side. We also have an organic tracking system on the other side where we can see what's going on the organic side as well as the paid ad side so that we can incrementally improve the paid ad system as well as the organic system. And so by tracking both the paid and the organic side of things, we can identify where there's issues, fix those issues, and incrementally improve the system moving forward. Step number 8, attendance tracking and retention ramp. Doesn't matter how many new memberships you sign up, if you're constantly losing members every single month, you're never going to be able to grow your studio consistently. Dr. Paul Bedford, also known as the retention guru, always talks about how to improve your retention and keep more clients month after month. The important metric he talks about when it comes to retaining your memberships is actually member usage. After doing countless studies on a number of different franchises and fitness studios, he found that if you can keep members coming to the studio at least 1 to 2 times every single week, your retention will be up at around 94 to 97%. What he found is that all members that are not coming to class at least 1 time per week are your at-risk clients. And so what this means is the most important thing that you can do in order to enhance your retention and keep more clients is by simply holding them accountable to coming to classes at least 1 to 2 times every single week. And so what we did is we built a system that organizes all of the members that are falling off and not coming to classes anymore. And so the best way to fix your retention is to track your attendance and make sure you have systems in place to make sure you're messaging any of your members and holding them accountable to come back to classes. And so long as you can keep them coming 1 to 2 times every single week, you're going to maintain that retention at a level that will help you grow. And so I'll quickly walk you through a system that we have in place for some of our clients. We call it the member retention system. And essentially all it tracks is if they haven't been to class in the past 10, 20, or 30 days, we make sure we have systems in place to reach out to those contacts in order to hold them accountable. Now, what we don't do is send automations to our members. The last thing you want to do is to make them feel less important and just to send an automation. So what we did is we set up a notification system that organizes messages that need to be sent but doesn't automate it. That way, our clients know exactly what members need a message and they get to decide what to send and when to send it. So as you can see here, Sarah has missed the past 10 days. And so what we want to do is send a notification to the owner of the studio to make sure that they know Sarah needs to be messaged about coming to a class. Now, one thing about messaging people who haven't been to class in 20, 30 plus days, you don't want to be reminding people to cancel their membership. And so in a lot of cases, after that point in time, when people are at risk, you want to stop sending them messages, because at that point, you're kind of just reminding them to cancel their membership. So depending on what system you're using and how you're tracking attendance, this is the most important thing that you can do in order to enhance your retention, to make sure you're keeping clients longer in order to help you grow. So regardless of what CRM you're using or how you're tracking your attendance, the most important thing that you can do right now is to create a system in order to hold your members accountable to come into classes 1 to 2 times per week. So those are the 8 steps that we're currently using right now to help fitness studios fill their classes. And you have 2 options. Option 1, you can take this framework and implement it yourself. Every step I've shared with you works, and with time and effort, you can build this system from scratch yourself. Option 2, let us build it for you. That way you can fast track this process and have our team implement every single system I went through for you. All you have to do is click the link in the description below and you can book your strategy session with myself. Otherwise, if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'll be releasing content every single week on how to help you grow your fitness studio. See you in the next one.